Today we're going to talk about something interesting, and that is what fighting game skills transfer between fighting games. Because I do believe that there is one advantage to me playing a bunch of different fighting games, and that is the transference. That was hard. What the fuck? That is the transference of skills and the transference of wake up dash, but not a transference of skills. So I believe that when you play a fighting game and you go to play a new one, right, there are certain things that go with you, depending on the fighting game, of course. One of those things I believe is the ability to play neutral. And this is not to be confused with like being good at a certain fighting game's neutral, because neutral is different from fighting game to fighting game. In DBFZ, and it's not completely different, but it's a little different. In this game, there's three characters. There's super dash, bigger screen, jump ins, lots of air to airs. Your 2H is really nice. You got air dash. In a game like Grand Blue, it's not as air heavy, but you still have like a pretty. Well, actually, in Grand Blue, you have a smaller screen, and in Tekken, it's a 3D space. So your neutral, like, per se does not transfer, but like your ability to just move around a screen, your ability to just be potent in game just by moving, your ability to possibly confirm from certain things on the screen transfers. And the funny thing about this is that even though these things transfer, you still have to practice them, if that makes sense. Like, you can't just have that skill and go into the new game and expect to have those things instantly work out for you. Like, you have to kind of practice playing in the neutral. A lot of the times people get into fighting games and they just want to do combos, right? They just want to hit you, do the cool combo, get the dopamine, yay. You wake back up, hit you, that's all they want to do. They want to see the cool thing. But if you want to play neutral, right, you have to learn that game's neutral. And that's when you start to see things like just shimmying, right? Just doing a little shimmy. Shimmies apply in almost every fighting game, right? Baits, like just baiting. How did I end up on the other side? Just baiting something, just running up and doing nothing. That applies in all fighting games, right? I did not know that was projectile info. That is crazy. That was a crazy 2H. Am I dead? Yeah, I'm dead as hell. Oh no, he dropped it. But yeah, there's just certain things that apply to all fighting games. I do believe that neutral, just the ability to play in the game, is one of those things. Another thing that I think transfers really well is mind games, right? Just the ability to mess with your opponent's head, to do. That was a nice ass 2H. Just the ability to get in your opponent's head. Hold on, go crazy. I'm sorry. Anyway, the ability to get in your opponent's head and just do stuff, right? To just mess with their head, make them scared of every single interaction. Now, when you're first coming into a fighting game, you might not have mind games, right? And this goes kind of back into what I was saying before, where you just want to get in, do the big hit, and profit. Now, I'm sorry, this guy is like really fucking good. Like, watching this shit, like, this guy is fucking good. But yeah, like, a lot of people just want to get in and do the big hit, right? But you can't always get in and do the big hit, especially if your opponent is competent. So, you're going to have to do mind games. And sometimes if your opponent is even more competent, even just trying to get in and do like a mix is not going to work. You need to do like different things, and that's where like the transference of skills comes into play again, I believe. Because running up to your opponent, right, and doing, maybe a single button over and over again. Maybe you just run up to your opponent, jab, delay, jab, delay, jab, low, delay, jab, low, jab, grab. Something like that, right? Like that sequence right there. You can do that from practice or whatever. But that's something that really really benefits. I don't want to word this. You really benefit from like having the transference of different fighting games to be able to do something like that. Now, something like that can also just come from raw skill, like of a fighting game, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about going to different fighting games. So that being said, I do think that sequences like that you can really tell, especially with new players, because when you're new to a fighting game, that transference of skill is all you have. Like, if you don't have combos and all you know is your character's moves and like maybe I don't know the best buttons, all you have is that. And that's something I've used to my advantage. When I first started playing Uni 2, I was playing against one of my friends. And he was not like amazing at Uni 2, but he was pretty decent, right? Like he knew some stuff because he had probably 5-10 hours in the game. But me being better at like other fighting games, I was able to use this transference of skills that just really helped me like see into kind of what he would do, even though it's just in a different package. Because like even though fighting games are different inherently, that was so nice, me. That was so fucking nice. Even though fighting games are different inherently, they are also the same in a lot of ways. So if you can do run up, jab, grab, like in Dragon Ball, you can do run up, jab, grab in Tekken. You can do run up, jab, grab in Grand Blue. Like some of these things they just work everywhere, right? And that's also what kind of, I don't mean to praise myself, but that's kind of like what makes me happy about playing so many different games is that I'm able to do like stuff like that. I'm able to realize, oh, that combo was almost nice, but I'm able to realize that fucking you can do things like that. I think another thing, right, that really, oh, I need some water. Hold on. I think another thing that really transfers like well between fighting games is what do I want to call it? Like perseverance, I guess. You're like your fighting game heart, like just not giving up, you know. And that's a mindset that some people don't even normally have. But when you play multiple fighting games, and especially once you become like decent at those games, you get to a point where even though it's almost over, it doesn't have. Yo, he just did 2 level 3s. It doesn't have to be over, right? Even when it seems like it's over. So you develop kind of this heart of steel in a sense. And that is definitely something that transfers over when you go to a new game. Because even though you're getting overwhelmed, if you just watch, right? If you just see what your opponent's doing, it kind of like you start to see some things and you start to realize that even, okay, one, I could come back from this, right? If I play really smart, I can come back. B, even if you can't come back, just seeing what like their patterns and such, what they might go for. This is all information for the next match. Which I guess is kind of maybe the next thing I want to say is that gathering information, like the speed of gathering information, is a great skill that transfers over in fighting games. As like a single fighting game player, or maybe like just a lower level fighting game player, right? Not to say I'm amazing, but I'm pretty decent, you know. I'm not gonna hate on myself, but as a lower level fighting game player, you might not see things, like you might not see patterns. You might not realize that your opponent is doing something over and over again. Sometimes your opponent does something over and over again. Honestly, I do this when I'm playing someone and like I'm really messing them up, and maybe it's been a few games and I kind of feel like they can't beat me at all. I will do something over and over just to see if you like are recognizing this, because like I used to play my friend like before he got like hardcore into fighters, and before he was pretty good. He's pretty good. Oh, he was pretty good. He stopped playing, but when he got really good, right before that, I would do things like run up to him, triple overhead. I would just run up overhead, 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 stare at him, you know? And I would do this multiple times on Oki just to see, like, are you recognizing this pattern? Like, do you see this? So it's very useful when you're playing different fighting games to recognize patterns like that, you know? Or patterns like every time your opponent runs up and does jab, jab, low, jab, overhead at a certain point in the game, right? Maybe it's after neutral reset, or maybe your opponent does jab, jab, low, jab, grab. Maybe like, and you don't even have to guess, right? Like you do have to guess, but you don't have to guess on stuff like that. That was fucking hard. That was crazy. That was crazy. But what I mean by you don't have to guess is not that you don't have to like guess what he's doing. But if he's doing something at a certain point every time, like if he's doing something at that jab, jab, low, jab interaction every time, you can recognize that he's doing something. And even if you don't want to like, even if you want to just try to guess right, like maybe they're not actually mixing, maybe they're, that's so cool, bro. You're so cool. Like maybe you're not guessing, like maybe you just want to option select that shit. You can do something, like you can just recognize that and maybe back up, do a backdash every time. Or at least that next time to punish him. Do backdash into a heavy move. Do reflect if you're in Dragon Ball. Um, you know, maybe do an invincible move. That's one of my favorites. If you know, you know. You know, you can recognize pretty early that there are things this opponent likes to do, and that's just not something you get when you're like not playing. Okay, it is something you get when you play a single fighting game. Like I don't mean to take any of these points and say that it's not something that you get when you're playing a single fighting game, just because you can get to that skill. But I'm saying like when you're new to a different fighting game, these are things that early, that was meaty as fuck. These are things that early on you can start doing to maybe get a leg up on these guys who may think that just because you're new to the game, they can just like bully you. Because you know, okay, let's be honest. When you see somebody new to a game, what do you want to do, right? If you now, if you didn't say bully them, you're better than me. You're a better person than me. And I'm not gonna bully them every time, right? I'm not gonna bully them every time. But sometimes, yeah, I'm gonna bully you. So, you know, when you run into those people that are kind of like me, they want to all bully you. Um, you know, you can get these things going early to where you can be like, hey, like a little more than you thought. You know, I'm a little better than you thought I was. And I just think that that's so cool. And it's not like the reason I play different fighting games, but excuse me, like it's not the bro. He's no, there's no way he's this ready. Every time he's this ready, but it's not like the reason I play different fighting games. But like, it's a cool byproduct, is what I want to say. It can be debated that you can learn these things from a single game, like, and then take all that information to a second new game, and that's still kind of what I'm talking about. But also, I play like 2 to 4 fighting games sometimes, maybe even more. So when I say that, like, it's in reference to quite a few games. Man, I'm doing better than I was last match. I was looking kind of cooked. Sorry, I needed a drink. Also, this guy's fucking cooking, bro. But another thing that you really learn how to do when you play different fighting games is take a fucking L. And I talk about that shit a lot. I talk about it a lot because I'm very privy to taking the good old L. But you really learn to take a L. And this is something that I think Definitely transfers, because when you are new to multiple fighting games, even if you can do that, even if you can use all your transferences of skills, you can fucking do everything I was just talking about. Sometimes you're just gonna lose. Sometimes, you know, that player's amount of time in that one game is just gonna outweigh what you can do from basic basic fucking game knowledge from playing multiple games. So you gotta know how to take a L, bro. You gotta learn. You gotta learn how to eat that shit, right? Take it straight on the chin. Because I'm not gonna lie, they be coming. This whole video, you see what's been going on. You see what's been going on. This guy has been fucking me up. So yeah, you learn to take L, and I think that's really cool because taking an L is no small feat, right? Everybody takes L's. The best guy in the world takes an L every now and then. He just might not take as many. But do you know why he hasn't taken as many? Because he's already taken his L's, right? That was good. Okay, go ahead, me. But yeah, you gotta learn. You can definitely learn how to take an L from playing multiple fighting games. That was nice. That was very nice. And it gets easier, right? But it also it gets more difficult because you're like, I should be able to get out of this, and you have to be careful because there's taking an L and like there's taking an L and just taking it, and there's taking an L and knowing why is very important. And I think that is something that you get from the transference is you know why you took the L. When you're new to fighting games, sometimes I feel like that guy just fucking mashed, right? And sometimes that guy did just mash. But sometimes it feels like that guy just mashed, but he really just outplayed the fuck out of you, right? And when you play other fighting games, you realize when you're being fucking outplayed, right? Sometimes you know, like, oh, I'm getting outplayed right here. You see, like, this game right here, I'm not gonna lie, I'm getting fucking outplayed a little bit. Like, it just happens, right? Like, you can't be mad at it. I mean, you can be mad at it, but all you can really do is fix that shit. What a 2H. I did not think he was gonna do that shit before the fucking key blast came down. That shit even real? I'm about to say, is that shit real? This game should not still be going on. But yes, the ability to take an L gracefully taking an L. Damn. What a 2H. I gotta stop Super Dasher so much. And the final thing that I'll say about the transference of skills is realizing when to go. That was fucking nice of me. Because sometimes when you only play one game, you don't realize that you're fucking nice yet. And you're like, damn, like, I'm good, but I could be better. I did that, but I could have did this. And that's always true, right? There's always probably a moment where you're like, damn, I could have did something better. But once you play multiple games and you play people and you see how things are, you go, damn, like, I'm fucking nice. And I think that is fucking awesome. Because I've had moments where I sparked right there. That was a shitty spark. That was a terrible spark. I've had moments where I'm like, damn, I'm playing like complete shit, and I know it. And I've also had moments where I'm like, nigga, you were playing so fucking godlike right now. Like, who is this? Like, have you ever played and fucking looked at yourself? Have you ever played, like, okay, and of course you can't actually look, but you know what I mean. Have you ever played and looked at yourself and been like, you did that? That was you? And not out of, like, the ability not to do it, but just because you didn't expect that, right? You expect certain things from yourself, and sometimes you exceed those expectations. Sometimes you don't live up to them, right? But sometimes you exceed those expectations. And you can really tell when you're playing multiple fighting games, when you're like, okay, Nitro. When you're playing multiple fighting games, you can just be like, oh, that was was nice. That was nice, me. Good shit. And also, vice versa for your opponent. Because when you play multiple fighting games, like, you can kind of tell what fucking slop. You can tell what slop looks like. Like, you can tell what a guy mashing his fucking face on the controller looks like. You also tell, like, oh, this guy's good. This guy knows what he's doing. And that's just a really, like, right there, that was some elite shit. He used the guard point from the key blast. Is he gonna kill? Yo, he's gonna fucking kill. He used the guard point from the key blast to tag my tag him, and then he comboed into it and killed me. That's godlike. You fucking got it, right? That was great. That was good. But yeah, I guess that's just some of the things that I think transferred over from fighting games into different fighting games. Maybe I'll do a second video like this. What's crazy, I don't know if you guys know this, I've only did like one fucking scripted video. Sometimes I have bullet points, right? Sometimes I have like some points I think about and make and write down. A lot of the times when I do these videos, straight from here, baby. Straight from the heart, you know, just passion, just straight passion. And sometimes I surprise myself. Like, I just been talking for 20, 30 minutes. Shit. And for the most part, I've kept it pretty good, you know, I've kept it pretty good. No more games. And how we meet this level 3. I got a Grand Blue tournament coming up. Grand Blue Tournament Sky Realm Clash 2. Check it out. November 21st, 5 p.m. GG. We got one. We got one. And I'm happy about the one. Fuck it. I ain't even gonna be mad at the one. I take mine. I take my one win.